Hey guys, M12 Warthog here. Now, you're seeing this listed, probably this video listed as a strategy guide video, and well, sure there's no strategy guide because I've already done Civilization Revolution as the Romans, and I could do other factions as well and try and fit in their unique abilities here and there, show you how that works. But today I wanted to talk about something, and what I've learned from doing this, versus what I knew back when I first started doing strategy guide videos. And the main reason why I want to talk about this is because what you're watching would be my 100th video of strategy guide. And well, I want to talk about some of the things I've learned while playing this game. And one of those things is that not only have I learned so much from just playing different strategy games or just games in general that I have an interest in, such as strategy games, but I've also learned that sometimes there are certain things that other factions will have that you may not necessarily have access to, and sort of makes you want to try and see what they're capable of doing, play their faction, see that stuff, and sort of learn and see stuff from other people's perspectives, and so forth. Another thing that I also want to mention, aside from this, is that I'm not just going to be rattling off, like, names of strategies that I've learned and come up with stuff on my own, or something that I've came up with that might have something to do with, another thing, one thing or another, but what I do know is that I like to say that, I'm not the best strategist that there is out there when it comes to playing games like these, but what I can do is tell you that I've learned a lot more and I'm a lot better at playing strategy games than when I was when I first started this, which all started when I played Risk Factions on my channel. I played it for fun, but then I did a more strategy-oriented version of it under the name Strategy Guide because it was going to be a cool strategy that I'm going to show you guys. It's mostly going to be unedited that way, because I felt like it's my first time showing off this kind of stuff, and then this one person decides to start doing strategy guides, but it's like his first one, so I sort of wanted to put the aspect in there that this is the real me, and I didn't want to edit so much of that when I did strategy guides, but I'm still doing them. I still enjoy them. The things I look forward to the most, but not only that, I also wanted to say that I sort of really didn't do much, thought about much strategy in my games because it's just something I've learned over time, and I was able to immerse myself in the game so much to the point where I did have a strategy. I wasn't just looking at it as a strategy, I just looked at it as the thing that I do for the best case scenario. Like, I'm in a bad situation, I just did something that worked to get me out of that situation, or something along those lines. It's just something I've done, and something I immediately react to when I see something. Oh, enemies moving here, I'll move here, kind of thing, without actually thinking about it, because, well, I don't really see a needed to at the beginning. But when I thought maybe I could just show you off what I did and how I did it, it made me also realize that not just about what I'm doing that counts as well. Other players and other people doing stuff, and their goals for victory may have major conflicts with mine, and, well, that may be true. So, oh, we found the Mongols. Okay, how nice. And not only that, but I'm sort of more interested in so much as the challenge that it provides for my brain when I try to do these things, because after a while playing the same scenario over and over again isn't really a challenge. I just do the same thing, or sometimes I will, but not to the point where it gets boring, because I've done it so many times, but so much to the point where I can figure out another possibility. Like, if someone attacks me at territory A, I could defend I could defend it in this way, but then I might play it over to figure out if I could do something else that works as well. And that's sort of something that I'd like to do, and, ooh, found some new stuff. And not only that, but, it's made me think that, and overall I'd like to say that not only has this made me just look at things differently when it comes to gaming, but in real life I've seen that. It's helped me realize that when I first started watching tech videos on YouTube and whatnot, and the fact that for most of you who do not know me in IRL, I'm seriously considered making a job in the field of building and repairing computers. I actually have some old computer parts. I took apart a floppy drive and an optical drive and all that stuff, but that's for probably another time in another video. But what I do have to offer, and what I have seen, is that just because I prefer to build something or start out with a certain thing, or do a certain thing first when building a computer, does not mean everyone else is going to do the same thing, and that everyone's a little different, but to me, I'm pretty much okay with that. And that sometimes we have to work around that when it comes to making strategies and so forth. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to keep making these. Okay. And I sort of like this, sort of like what I've done with Strategy Guide and how it's changed a little here and there. But not only that, I think I can get some other stuff going as well that I might want to do. And gold. Okay, because we're just defending a border there, okay. Move that in there. You have 100. Okay, then we gotta wait next turn. Okay, so not only have I done 100 videos, and I'm happy with them, but I also would have liked to say that I could go back and redo the scenarios that I've done in strategy guides and do it a whole lot better. Make something better. Fill in the cracks on a line, on a territory that I was defending that I could have defended better. Or, you know, maneuver my army in a special way or something that allowed me to, do some stuff that I wanted to get done. There's, like, just so many things to consider. But, nonetheless, I'm pretty happy with what I've done so far. And then I think, as I, progress with this, I think I'll find times to make my strategies a little bit different, because at this point in time, I feel like there are some key characteristics that are the same and present in pretty much every strategy I do, even though that I try to mix it up and change it around from time to time, that still take place that I still definitely most likely want to have done differently. That, will eventually come, and there'll probably be a time for that. And so forth. I'm gonna defend there with an army. But not only that, what I also like to do is also what I'm thinking about in terms of what I've learned is to do other stuff as well. Because when I make a strategy, I gotta assume that, I gotta look at what the enemy's doing and assume that if I see the worst thing that they can do to me, I gotta assume that they are capable of doing that. They may they may have certain things going on with their side right now, or something like maybe they don't have a whole lot of happiness, so maybe they really can't afford to go to war and say Age of Conquest 4, which is something I've done for strategy guides before on my channel, in which way they may not attack me. Then again, they may be able to, and I don't know that, and I still should defend myself, but like I said, there are certain things that are part of the unknown that I don't know about, and well, the problem with that is that if you don't know, that sort of leaves it up to chance a bit as to what's going to happen. But then again, it also provides a different viewpoint on what strategies are. It's not just doing the same thing over and over again from the same scenario, like some people have done. Or some people just think that they'll use one strategy that they find is good and over until work like that. Napoleon Bonaparte, which is a military leader that I learned about in military history class, pretty much used the strategy and developed a strategy that was pretty much used all the way up until World War II, when, I would say, a similar but, like, refined version of it. It's sort of similar to it in the way that you could call it Outnumber at the Point of Attack 2.0, but it's unique in what they did to be its own because of the advancements in technology during that time period of World War II. But the main thing that I'd like to say is that when you outnumber at the point of attack, eventually someone's going to catch on to your strategy. Someone's definitely going to figure out a way to counter it, and someone's definitely going to find a way to beat it if you keep repeatedly using it. So you gotta figure out, how can I apply this in multiple ways, or how do I do this differently? And it's something that I feel like I'm the worst at when it comes to strategy games. It takes me a little bit longer to catch on to that, but I definitely do it. Just takes a while, and when it does come, it makes me feel like I did something that I've been doing for a while now, but I've done it like 5 times better, which in certain scenarios, it may be 5 times better, but in other scenarios, it may not even help me any more than it would for another strategy, and maybe sometimes it's just as good as the other one. Who knows? Okay. So, aside from just that, I also feel like that there is... Holy crap, we're on a big island. I thought I started out on a small island, to be honest here, and my strategy was sort of working towards that, hence the unknown factor, which I'm gonna have to actually make a defensive line here and set up 3 units, defend in the forest. But actually, I find it quite useful if you ask me. If you asked me, what do you think I would, what do you think is the best strategy? I think is one of the most useful questions that I think everyone would like to have answered when it comes to making strategies and whatnot. But I'm gonna be honest. Like, not every strategy, there's not, like, one singular strategy that works for everything, because here's the thing, it may work now, but what about 10 years from now when technology's advanced and strategies advance and how you use your strategy and the type of games that are made that you could play that don't really necessarily line up with the workable strategy with what you've done. And that, too, is a thing that can happen. Okay. That's a peninsula. So let me see here. So it made me thinking... It made me get around to the question, does playing strategy games, does that automatically make you a better strategist? I mean, in a way, I would answer, if someone asked me that, I would say yes, in the way that, it could make you a better strategist if you understand what's going on. But at the very least, if you do lose, it's gonna make you see or take a look at what you're watching from a different perspective and see if you can do anything about it there. Or how you view what's going on the map as well. End turn. But that may not necessarily always be the case. Okay, I'm getting lost in this game. Hold on. The courier. So, I've also learned that strategies could come in multiple forms. Not just for what's best for defeating your enemy, but also strategies on preparation for this attack, on trying to beat them. Like, what's the best way to go about the attack, or what's the best way to attack them? Not directly on how you're going to attack them, but where are you setting up your armies so that they're not, like, directly in front of them, but not directly where they can see it, but how's the best way to go about it to meet other objectives as well. Not just about getting done what you want done, but also getting, I guess, getting other objectives done in ways that benefit you, and trying to do it also in a way where it has little to no benefit to others. Although, if I take out enemy A, that's a benefit to everyone else because they don't have to deal with them, or maybe or it maybe affect other people negatively because they just don't have. I guess they just don't have other allies who would want to help them and whatnot and so forth. So, after all of this, and what I've learned is that if you have something that you know, or see something that you see from your perspective as a strategy that could be useful to the team, sometimes it may not necessarily work, because if you view it as beneficial, but you're only seeing from what you can see, because maybe your teammates are as a completely different person who sees something from a different way or perspective. For an example, if I'm playing 2v2 match in Supreme Commander 2, something I see that would be beneficial to me as a commander in the UEF may not necessarily be beneficial to my ally who might be Illuminate, because, well, maybe it doesn't work for more heavily armored turrets that have a shorter range versus theirs that have a longer range and can hit people from farther distances. But nonetheless, a strategy is a strategy, and the only way you'll know if it works is if you used it before, and you can sort of guess as to how beneficial it will be for a given scenario. But how good will it be for all scenarios is not necessarily going to be the same for everyone, depending upon how you use it and what you do with it, and so forth. But I think that's a given for everything. at the moment, like, I feel like that anything I could do right now may just be rendered useless as a strategy later down the line and so forth. Which is kind of cool to think about, because then that sort of forces, if you're a strategist, to make new strategies or new moves or do stuff like that later on. Are there other enemies up here is what I want to know. Actually, I can send this one here. Sort of like the strategy I'm doing here. Right now, I feel like I could set up one more city. And I think I'd be fine with 4 for now. And then rely on the rest for what I based off of what I capture. But that may not necessarily be beneficial for someone who already has a good setup to begin with. For, like, I'm comparing this game of, Civilization Revolution at the moment. But for now, I feel like I pretty much, when I'm playing a regular game or when I'm playing a game on regular difficulty, I'm just playing Chieftain as a casual game while I talk about this, because I'm not having full-on, like, a strategic discussion of any kind, like, about what I'm doing and what I'm doing. I'm just talking about stuff I've learned from Strategy Guide and what it's done and so forth, and all of that kind of stuff. Wait, I actually want to move them here. But nonetheless, I feel like this covers most of what I've learned. There could be stuff that I've learned that I just do subconsciously with strategies and whatnot that I've observed that I'll probably catch on to later on, because that's how I am. But nonetheless, I think I've learned quite a lot from making strategies and all that stuff into videos for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the rant that I went on about stuff I've learned from strategy guides, and maybe this will open up your eyes as to how I go about things, or how other people might view what you do when you're making a strategy, whether it be a teammate or an enemy who's trying to take you out on the battlefield of gaming or whatever it might be. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, taking the time to leave any comments, questions, or feedback for me in the comment section down below would be highly appreciated, and I will see you guys later in